All right, the journey continues in trying to get Buck Showalter a World Series ring in New York. If you missed the first episode, basically what we're doing is starting in 2021, the year before Buck actually will manage the Mets, we hired him at the start of the 2021 season, took over the New York Mets as GM, and away we go. He's on a 3-year contract. We want to get him a World Series ring because, well, he deserves it. And so let's jump to the standings to start. We are 54 games into the season. So we're 1/3 of the way through the season. So we'll start the update there. We're 33-21. We're a game up on the Braves, who actually were well ahead of us. And then they've lost 6 in a row, gone 3-7 in their last 10. We're 8-2 in our last 10. So we've taken over first place in the AL East. Leaderboard-wise, you can see McNeil here, second to Manny Machado in batting average. Pete Alonso with 20 long balls leading the league. Alonso 50 ribbies leading the NL. OPS McNeil and Alonso are 1 and 2. Lindor is leading the NL in batter war. Lindor and McNeil have had 12-game hitting streaks. DeGrom is up here in wins. So as you can see, it's been the McNeil, Alonso, Lindor show offensively. You're going to see there are a lot of holes that those guys are covering up for in the lineup. We are right at our Pythagorean of 33-21 with a +60 run differential, which is it appears to be third best in the NL behind the Dodgers and of course the Brewers. In the AL, the White Sox are +62. They're ahead of us. So let me show you what's going on with the team here. Let's sort by WRC plus. Drew Ferguson is just a call-up. You can ignore that. But McNeil, who Buck, if you missed the first episode, I'm letting Buck control the lineups, which is really hard for me, guys, when he's batting Jeff McNeil 6th against righties. Oh, and he's now 6th against lefties. At one point, he had him batting 7th against lefties. McNeil and his 177 WRC plus. He also is letting Guillorme play every 4th day, and Lowry, we'll get to his acquisition soon, every 7th day. It's driving me a little nuts. Pete Alonso right there with the 174 WRC plus, and I said the 20 home runs. He's killing it right now. And Lindor with the 147 WRC plus, 150 OPS plus. He is slugging .543. He's got 10 stolen bases. So those three are doing really well. Brandon Nimmo. So actually, now that I've highlighted those three, let me show you some of the moves I've made as well as the injuries we have. So it's really the McNeil, Alonso, Lindor show. Nimmo's coming along, but we'll get to that. So here we go with the IL. So Carrasco's still out. Syndergaard is on a rehab assignment. So he's on a rehab assignment. He made his first start. I mean, he missed a long time, right? So I'm probably going to let him make at least 3 starts down there, I'm thinking. And he made his first one. Lugo is still out. But the guys who have gone out, all these guys were out to start the year, but Almora Jr., our center fielder, who really, we had concerns about the bat, but the glove is really good. He's been out since April 27th, and he's unknown recovery time. We just found out that he had a setback, so... we already had kind of a hole in center field, and now it's an even bigger hole because we don't even have somebody who can play the position well defensively. Kevin Millar was kind of like a 4th outfielder, bumped up from a 5th to a 4th outfielder for us once Almora went out. You can see in 31 plate appearances, he's hitting really well. A 345 average, 387 on base, a 158 OPS plus, but he got injured at the end of May, and he's out for 5 to 6 weeks. And in terms of transactions... let's do it this way. Let's go to our major transaction log. Let's go back to March when we last left off. So there are the coaching things. You guys saw all these in the first episode. So let's see. So I made a few. Yeah, so I claimed Jed Lowry off waivers from Oakland. He felt like an upgrade for me over Brandon Drury. He's played very part-time, but he's been good for us. I mean, he's walking 21% of his plate appearances, a 424 on base. And we also got Reese McGuire to be our backup catcher. He's a captain. His catcher ability was, I believe, a 70 when I got him. I guess it went down. But he's been fine behind the plate. This just gave us more depth because I was able to send down Maxwell, my backup catcher, and Drury, my backup kind of utility guy. I wouldn't say that either of the guys that I got are substantially better, but it just gives more depth, and those two guys had options, so I sent them down. And now there's just more organizational depth. Marcus Strowman went out, and let's see, what was his injury again? Strowman went out for 5 weeks with shoulder bursitis, which you never like to see a shoulder injury. And he's come back and made one major league start. He made 2 rehab starts here, you can see. And then he's come back and had one okay start for us. So we've really been without him, arguably our number 2 starter, for much of the season. He's only made 4 starts. And let's see, we called some guys up. We purchased contracts. No big things, just added guys to the 40-man, etc. We made a few other trades, though. There's Almora. So we did trade Joey Lucchesi to the Mets. We got Michael King, who is he's now in AAA, but he pitched really well for us when we needed him up. He put up a 4 point. Well, I guess he kind of trailed off. He was pitching well, but he's pitching fine. I preferred him to Lucchesi. We also got this dude in our minor league system. So yeah, that I made that trade. Nothing huge to say about that. Then we did trade 2 kind of prospects who were never going to be anything for us, because basically I needed more lefties in my bullpen and I wanted guys with minor league options. So Chasen Shreve does not have options, but he's a lefty, which we needed, so he's in our bullpen now. He's pitched 8 innings for us. We got Blake Wyman, who is another lefty who has minor league options, so he's in Syracuse for us. I think he could be up at some point. He's the closer in Syracuse, but this was just about adding lefty depth to the organization, adding another lefty to our major league bullpen. We also got this guy thrown in who, I don't know, I just looked for like a closer they're willing to throw in, and they're willing to throw him in. And then we didn't have anybody we could send down to add Shreve, because so much of our bullpen they're all out of minor league options. So we traded Jacob Barnes. We retained 60%, so we still saved some money. And we got this guy who's actually out for 9 to 10 months with Tommy John surgery, but it seemed like a decent-ish relief prospect, even though he is 24 coming off Tommy John. Really, this was just about opening up a roster spot for Shreve and getting rid of some salary of Barnes. So that's why we did that. We've got some rehab assignments. So those are all the moves. So let me take you back to the team now. You can see Nimmo, he's struggling in the field. He's got a minus 3.1 zone rating and 936 efficiency in 32 starts in center. Not good. We've tried to plug that hole somehow. That's what she said, but we just haven't been able to make a trade that would really be worth it, I guess I should say. Dominic Smith was off to a terrible slump, but he's heated up. He's heated up big time. You can see just in the last 5 games, he's had a bunch of hits. He's had 4 home runs in his last 5 games. His OPS plus is up to 134, but his fielding out in left field, negative 4.5 zone rating, a 913 efficiency. Defense is a problem for this team. Jed Lowry, we talked about. He's been good in a part-time role. Malik Smith in a very part-time role, mainly just here as a pinch runner. Conforto has struggled with just an 84 OPS plus. You can see McGuire. Roberto Perez, just a 67 OPS plus, but he's putting up 0.4 WAR because he's so good defensively. JD Davis has struggled substantially as our starting third baseman. And Guillorme, he's just there for the glove. No big deal. So pitching side of things, let's sort it by, we'll go by WAR. It's kind of starter biased, but hey. So DeGrom is tops 1.7. You can see he's rocking a 2.92 ERA, 3.26 FIP. Walker with 1.1. Edwin Diaz has been very strong for us. Sorry, I just got distracted. Where's my guy Kevin Gossman? Oh, Gossman's at the top. I was like, Gossman's having a great year. So I was scrolled down. So Gossman is actually leading the team in WAR at 1.8. Tied for the lead with DeGrom with 2.2 R WAR. He's got a 2.62 ERA, a 2.92 FIP. He's striking out 10.8 guys per 9, a 23.4 strikeout to walk percentage. Really great season. I mean, him and DeGrom have just been a good 1-2 punch. Now, Buck, of course, still sees Gossman as our 4, which doesn't really matter, but it's just annoying. And Taiwan Walker has been solid too. Edwin Diaz, great out of the pen with a 2.3 ERA, a 1.99 FIP, striking out 14.9 guys per 9. Strowman has been strong in his 4 starts that he's made. Giselman has hopped into the rotation and pitched well. David Peterson has been in and out of the rotation in the bullpen. He's pitched very well. You can see all these ERA pluses are above 100, which means they're above average, and all the FIP minuses, for the most part, are below 100, which means they're above average. So we've gotten really good pitching. Familia is still around. and he's actually pitching okay, surprisingly, even though he's had a 7.2 strikeouts per 9 to 6.8 walks per 9. He's going to go at some point. Trevor May has not been good, but everybody else has been pretty solid out of this pen. Oh, you might notice I forgot to cover this. Dylan Potanzas, who was he's just not cutting it. You can see how he did in his first 12 innings, and I needed to get rid of him. And then he had a 5-day injury, so I put him on the 60-day IL to punt on that decision. So some roster manipulation there from the Mets. So what are we going to do next? We're going to look at the info page. Third and runs scored, third and runs allowed, but this defense is just miserable. I've tried to make some trades. I do have the trade difficulty up higher than I played it on my Phillies sim. I have it 3 above. I have it 1 to favors prospects, and I don't know, man. Let me see if I can find an example for you guys. It's not that it's too hard to find a trade. I mean, you can find a trade, but it just doesn't seem realistic. Actually, let me show you one of these. Let me show you a really one. So this is the trade block. So these are guys who, if you come to a team and their price is outrageous, might be like, oh, they clearly just don't want to trade that guy. But Tyler Rogers, I looked at bringing him in, and now I do know the make this now work button. It can drive up the price, I believe. That's the thing. But here's who they want. They want a top 100 prospect, Pete Alonso, a top 100 prospect, top 200 prospect. Not sure who that guy is. Top 200 prospect. They want serious prospects or a serious piece off my roster. Now there are a few guys in here. Maybe I'd see. I don't know. Maybe I'd trade this guy, Jalen Palmer. But why would I for a reliever? He's 20 years old. Looks like he has a decent bat. Yeah, and that's the worst guy they'll take. So that, and I know it's only June, so the prices can come down, but I've had difficulty finding trades where it's not giving up substantial pieces for just a bullpen arm. So you can imagine what I've been running into with center field. Again, I'm getting used to this higher trade difficulty. So I think I said in the first episode, I'm kind of trying different settings out for myself to test run for Out of the Park 23. So my first impression of 3 above default is that it's not too hard to find trades, but it's just a guy on the trade block who they're wanting to trade, willing to trade. I'm just surprised that it would cost that much for just a reliever. So I have found, we didn't want to go there. I have found some trades. Obviously, I've made a couple. So you still can find good deals, but that's why I haven't made a big splash to, bring in a center fielder or bring in a third baseman or a left fielder who can actually play defense. And that's the thing. This team is such they have a lot of good players, but not necessarily a good fit. Dominic Smith, great bat, want to keep him in the lineup, but I'm not going to start him over Alonso, and he's a bad left fielder. Jeff McNeil, great bat, but he's not a very good second baseman. Now he's been okay so far this year. His zone rating is actually 0.1, but his range is not what I want to see. I'd love actually for him to be out in left field with his 55 range to replace Dominic Smith, but Buck is not doing that, and I'm not going to take over. But then the question becomes, where do you put Dominic Smith? So it's really, I think looking like I might need to trade away a significant, I don't want to say significant, a starter on offense to get the pieces to fit together better here. Now what that move is going to be, I don't know yet. I definitely want to shore up center field, but I could see myself bringing in a left fielder too. We'll see what J.D. Davis does. He's going to need to step it up. But, we're set at catcher, first base. McNeil, obviously I want his bat in the lineup, but I'm just not sold on him at second. We'll see about third. Not sold on Davis here. Lindor's obviously there. Smith, would love to keep him around, but not sure that I can given his defensive limitations. But maybe I will if he keeps hitting like that. Nimmo. Want him on the team, but don't want him as my starting center fielder. Conforto, I have hope that he'll come around. I think he's a good player and will come around. So, yeah. So I'm going to hop ahead here. I'm not even sure exactly to when. You guys will know because it's about to jump right ahead in the video. So we'll pick up there in a moment. Okay, so going ahead a couple more weeks here. We're now at June 21st, tied for first with the Braves. 12 games up on the next closest. The rest of the NL East is not doing too well. We're also pretty far up in the wild card race. We're tied, obviously, with the Braves for the first wild card spot, 7.5 games up on the second wild card spot. So we're, in terms of making the postseason, we're looking pretty good right now. But there's work to be done here. We want to win this division. And we've gotten some help. We've gotten some help for sure. Noah Syndergaard is back. Marcus Strowman has pitched a few more games for us. Syndergaard has only made one start. He went 4 2/3. He struck out 4 and walked 2. Gave up 2 earned runs, 3 hits. So, not the best start. He also was not really very good in his rehab assignments either. But hopefully he can be an important part of this rotation moving forward. We have a few other guys who have moved out on rehab assignments too. Carlos Carrasco has started his rehab assignment. He's only made one start. And Seth Lugo has also gone out on a rehab assignment and will presumably be in our bullpen soon. So more reinforcements are on the way. And, the trade wins have started to pick up. So we're late June now. And, I think maybe part of what I was talking about in the last one, how it seems impossible sometimes to get a deal even for a reliever that's on the trade block. Well, I think that's true. I think also, maybe the time of year that I was trying to trade has something to do with it. And that's one reason why I've stood pat is because, because I don't, I don't want to force a trade. While there are definite upgrades I want to make to this team as soon as possible, I think I'll get more bang for my buck as the deadline gets closer, kind of like in real life, right? Like teams aren't out generally swinging too major of trades in like early May. It just doesn't happen. And given, I didn't have an off season to build my Mets. So I kind of got to be patient here and wait maybe a little bit to make the big trades. And I might have to make trades this year that are not franchise altering for the long term, but bring in guys on expiring deals. So, this is a 3-year project. It's not a sprint here the first year, although I think we've got a really good opportunity this year, so I want to make trades. So what am I talking about when I say trade wins are starting to blow? Like, Max Scherzer, I checked in on him way earlier in the season just because I'm the Mets, and he's now a Met in real life. And he was using his 10-5 no trade clause to 10-5 rights to block any trade. So now it looks like he's willing to accept trades. Not only that, I found a trade that the Nats will accept. I'm not sure I'm going to do this, not yet anyways. I'll get into why this package is pretty valuable. But, first of all, the poor old Mets are going to need the Nats to eat 60% of the deal to even make this possible, which tells me it's really time for me to try to aggressively unload some salary like an $11 million Familia, who's pitching well, but he's an $11 million reliever who I can replace with a league minimum guy. So, the issue is Scherzer, he's on the IL, back stiffness. He is a free agent after the year. He's also having a terrible year. 6.22 ERA, a 5.70 FIP. The BABIP is 358. He's given up a lot of home runs. Let's compare this to his career. Yeah, his home runs are way high, 2.1. I do wish we had a home run to fly ball rate ability here so we could see if that's bound to regress or what's going on. Is he giving up more fly balls? Who knows? He's also walking a ton of guys. So, I don't know. He's unhappy. He's unhappy about the team record. He's unhappy about his performance. So, maybe if he gets into a winning clubhouse with Buck Showalter, maybe he's going to turn things around. Certainly has the ability to be an ace. Now, this package here, I would give up for him, but why am I standing pat? Because that's my name, and sometimes I stand up, but also because these two guys together, I think, could get me a really good package, and I don't want to pull the trigger yet on Scherzer, even though he could be one of the best pitchers in baseball. But 1, he's having a down year. 2, he is a free agent after the year. So while I might end up doing this deal, something better might come my way as I dig around and as teams become, as their asking prices drop as we get closer to the deadline and as more interesting players become available. Guillorme, he hasn't really done much for me. To be honest, I've never really paid much attention to how he's worked out in Sims. Maybe I'm sitting on a gold mine here and don't know it. He does have some decent batting stats, other than he's never going to hit for power. But he's an excellent infielder. He can play all around the diamond for you. And teams are really interested in him. His trade value is pretty decent. He's pissed off that he's not that he's not a starter, I guess. Yeah, well, get lost, buddy. And then Francisco Alvarez is my top prospect. He's the number 36 prospect in baseball. He's 19, and he is tearing it up in high A ball this year. You know, he's got a 130 OPS plus in 155 plate appearances. But that 50 catcher ability, he's never going to catch for me. Now, could I turn him into a decent corner outfielder? Yeah, but how, I guess it's like how interesting is this profile as a corner outfielder? I mean, it's not really all that interesting to me. You know, if you make him a left fielder, yeah, all of a sudden he's a 40 potential, right? So his potential is that he's a catcher with a good bat, you know, but he's never going to catch for me. So he's not as valuable anywhere else on the diamond, and since he's not good enough to catch for me, I consider him a trade chip, and I have no intentions of keeping him long term, and I think I'll probably trade him at the deadline this year if I can get the right deal. Now, it's got to be the right deal because this is a valuable trade chip that we're going to make sure we get a good return on. I'd rather not get a guy who's on an expiring deal when I'm trading my top prospect. I'd rather get a guy that's going to be around for all of Buck's run. But that's where my thought process is at. You know, we got the draft coming up. I'm going to mess around with trades more. I don't know if I'm going to make one just yet. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to bide my time until we get close to the deadline. But hey, you know, if that right deal comes in, I'll pull the trigger. But let's go ahead a little bit further here and see where the Mets are at. All right, so jumped ahead a little bit, and we might be on the cusp of the blockbuster trade we've all been waiting for. We're 2 games back of the Braves now, 15-37. I do want to draw your attention to the fact that Manny Machado is leading the league in batting average, tied for the lead. This is NL we're talking, for the league lead in home runs, and leading the league in RBI. So we're on July 9th, and Manny Machado is looking like he might want to take the Triple Crown. I know. I like new baseball stats as much as you. Yeah, the Triple Crown. Miguel Cabrera shouldn't have won that MVP for being a Triple Crown guy, right? Over Trout. I know, but it's still fun. It's still cool. So, what's going on? We did make one trade that I'll show you. Let's go ahead here. Back to June. So, on June 24th, actually, we made a couple trades, I think. On June 24th, we traded Familia. We packaged a couple guys, some minor leaguers we didn't really care about. And this was basically to cut salary because I had some moves that I was looking at, and we wanted to be able to get Familia's salary out of here. He was making $11 million. He was actually having a pretty decent season for us, but he was just replaceable. A league minimum guy was able to do what he could do. And so we got Danny Salazar. They retained some of his contract. He's out with a torn labrum. He's also a free agent after the year. This was just kind of like, yeah, sure, we'll take him on for you taking Familia. We got Logan Reinhart, who is a young bullpen arm, who I think is part of my Sims at one point, maybe my Phillies Sim or O-Sim. You know, I don't know necessarily that he's a piece, but basically this was about getting rid of Familia's salary. We went out and then got Mitch Haniger from the Mariners, who basically just wanted to be rid of him. He was on the trade block. Malik Smith was my 5th outfielder at that point, and he was rocking a 57 WRC plus and 38 plate appearances. Basically, it was just a defensive replacement. And so I wanted to upgrade my outfield bench, and I got Mitch Haniger, who really is a starting quality player. He's had 6 plate appearances, and he's got a 390 WRC plus. You know, that 500 BABIP. So he's basically just a pinch hitter. I mean, he hasn't gotten a start yet in like the 2 weeks he's been here, almost 2 weeks. But I think he adds a lot of depth to our bench. In the NL, that's certainly even more valuable because we don't have the DL now, or the DH. Now, you know, I imagine he's not too happy about it, but he's about to enter arbitration. We'll see what happens with him after the year. He also, you know, Conforto is having a bad year and is a free agent after the year. So I think he gives us another option for right field next season too, possibly. We'll see if he comes along next year on the team, but basically he gives us deeper bench this year, more options in the offseason when we're considering our outfield for next year. We got some minor league pitcher too, I think. Yeah, I mean, you know, extreme ground ball and high movement. I'll take a chance on those guys all day. So let's see. What else did I want to show you guys before we show the Blockbuster? I don't think there's anything else here. No. Okay. So we've got a roster crunch. Like, this is our rotation Gossman is my number 1 starter because I had to force start him as a starting pitcher because Buck was going to put him in the bullpen. I mean, like, he's near the league lead in ERA. I think he's the NL league lead in ERA. Like, he's got 2.8 WAR, 4.2 R WAR. Like, he's on pace to put up almost 8 R WAR. Like, the dude is a potential. He's 9-1. He's a potential. He's going to get Cy Young votes, and Buck was going to put him in the bullpen. So I wasn't down with that. DeGrom, Strowman, Syndergaard, Walker. But we also have Carlos Carrasco is back. He's out of the bullpen just because we're full up. We've also got Potanzas out on rehab. We'll leave him down there for the full time and probably DFA him. Seth Lugo only has 7 days left. I'd like to find room for him. Pilar is on rehab and is going to be coming back to the outfield where our backups are now Nimmo and Haniger. So there's really not a ton of room for Pilar. So anyways, I started looking around for the Blockbuster trade, and the Washington Nationals do not care that we're in their division. They're willing to do business with us. I appreciate it. I love it. Get the best package you can, Nationals, regardless of who you're trading to. So they're out of it. And again, remember, they do have pending free agent Max Scherzer, who is not pitching well this year. And let me go over this deal for you. So this would bring in Max Scherzer. They eat a whole lot of his deal. Essentially, they were willing to do Scherzer straight up for Jose Acuna, who I'll show you more of in a minute. But we also are on the cusp of acquiring Victor Robles, who would be really our mainstay in center field for probably the 3 years that Showalter is hired here in New York. 70 range. Robles is a very good hitter so far this year in the sim. It appears that Out of the Park is as big of a fan of Victor Robles as Derek Van Riper from The Athletic and the best podcast in baseball, Rates and Barrels. So, so DVR apparently programmed this game and made Robles really good. He's having a great season with a 126 WRC+. He could be our center fielder for years to come. And, of course, as we talked about, Scherzer is having a very bad year for the Nats. He's a pending free agent. They're out of it. I mean, a 6.68 ERA. His walks, I think, hopefully can have regression, some positive regression, as well as the home runs. And hopefully he gets onto a winning team and he's re-engaged, right? He's pretty pissed off and unhappy with his situation right now. So that would be what's coming our way. Now, obviously, that overcrowds our pitching situation even more. We've already got Carrasco in the bullpen, but hey, we're going to go for Mad Max if we can. So like I said, Acuna was the guy they were really interested in for Scherzer. Now, Acuna is not a top-rated prospect, as he is only 18. He's in rookie ball. He was acquired in real life by the Mets as an international free agent in 2019. So they were very interested in him. And I mean, I can see it, especially if they see his ceiling as higher than this. I can see why an 18-year-old they'd be excited to get him. Potentially 3+ pisses, 3 above average major league pitches with a really good curveball, a solidly above average fastball, and a very good changeup above average. I think his movement and his control could be problematic, but he's got potentially above average stuff. But I'm obviously more than willing to trade him. He's not a must keep. When I go through these trades, I like to not only say why it's good for me. Oftentimes, that's obvious because you're following the sim of my team. You know what I'm looking for. But I try to think about it from the other team's perspective and why they like these players. So Acuna was the guy that was going to go for Max. But the headliner of the deal is definitely Francisco Alvarez, the number 28 prospect in baseball, a 19-year-old who's in high A with a 127 WRC+. I don't see a future for him with my organization, as we talked about, because his catcher ability is only 50. But he's a major trade piece. He's our biggest trade piece, and I wasn't going to trade him unless we were making like a franchise-altering deal, which bringing in Scherzer to your rotation in a year you're trying to win the World Series is certainly that, and then bringing in Robles to be your center fielder for years to come, I think this is the right deal to pull the trigger on. There's also Carlos Cortez, who looks like a decent middle infield prospect. I know his overall is only at 30, but again, pay more attention to these individual ratings. Pretty decent batter. It looks like he could be a league average player. Like, looks like maybe a fourth infielder, fourth outfielder, like a backup utility infielder maybe. Not the best defensive player, but OSA is higher on him than my scout. It sees his avoid Ks and I as above average with average power and decent contact, slightly below average. So a decent player there for sure. And then also Chasen Shreve, we're going to have an overcrowded pitching staff, so I was seeing who they would like. They're interested in the lefty, who has struggled for us. He's got a 6.11 ERA, a 5.26 FIP in 17 2/3 innings. We can spare him. I also was like, hey, why don't you take this $3.6 million Kevin Millar? And they said, sure, we'd love to have him come in and replace Victor Robles as our center fielder in this year that is now a lost year for us. So that's the deal. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to make it. I'm going to click the complete trade button right now. Let's just make sure I don't think they'll okay, no, they won't hold on to any more money. So yeah, we're going to do this. And we're going to get a message that the fans are very excited. We got Max Scherzer. And don't worry, this DeGrom injury is a day-to-day one. So yeah, that's the deal. We brought in Max Scherzer with his 1-9 record, 6.68 ERA, and we'll go from there. Francisco Alvarez, maybe he'll haunt the Mets for years to come, but we're looking to win this year, and we just locked down our center fielder for years to come. So I'm going to go ahead and jump up to the trade deadline. We'll wrap the episode there after we see what other deals we make. Oh, did we ever make another deal? Welcome to New York, Carlos Correa. So the Astros had him on the trade block because I guess he's a free agent. They were punting. They're 47 and 57. They're 10 games below 500. And so we got him. And why would we need him when we have Lindor? Because I decided he was an upgrade at third base. Correa, and I'll get to the trade in a minute, but Correa was on the IL at the time. And he didn't have any third base experience. So then I sent him to the minors for, I think he played about a week and a half down there to get some third base experience. He's going to be just fine as a third baseman over time. This arm is tremendous. He's, the 60 range, he's not good enough to be a shortstop on my club. So the arm at third base is going to be great for us. He's played 4 games, hasn't done anything yet. But so he was on the IL when I got him. He had 2 days left on the IL. Sent him down to the minors for about a week. Got some third base experience, and he'll continue to play third base for us. And this position rating will go way up as he gets the experience, given these defensive ratings. So what happened? Well, let me show you the lineup. So, we brought in Robles, which then gave us, we had McNeil, who was playing outfield at that time because Buck has decided that Guillorme is his starting second baseman, which, okay, you go, Buck. We had Dom Smith. We have Brandon Nimmo. We have Mitch Haniger. We have Almora Jr. You might notice that Michael Conforto isn't here anymore. So, I mean, we had so many good outfielders, right? Like, so if Conforto's here, like, who gets pushed to the bench? Probably McNeil or Smith, and, to join Nimmo, Almora, and Haniger, who 2 of those 3 are starting quality outfielders already. So even after getting rid of Conforto in the Correa deal, I feel like my 4th and 5th outfielders are starting quality outfielders. So basically, let me show you Conforto here. He's a free agent after the year. Now, has he gone to Houston and absolutely dominated as I thought he would? Yeah, he's put up a 143 OPS plus. He was not playing well for us. And, I don't know that we were going to bring him back as a free agent given what he wanted and given how poor his year had gone. Now, he's an extremely talented hitter with the potential to be like a middle-of-the-order bat, but he wasn't doing that for us. We had too many outfielders. Carlos Correa was out there, and so, we went for it. Now, Correa and Conforto are both pending free agents. I have no idea why the Astros would make this deal. There were a couple minor leaguers involved. We gave up Dylan Hall, who was a 23-year-old who was in rookie ball. No idea why he was appealing to them. And then we got Brett Konin, who looks like a decent-ish minor league pitcher. I mean, he's probably, nothing more than like a fringe major league arm, but we'll take it. He's 24. So Correa comes in, and he's our third baseman. So, we've got around the diamond, we have Perez, Alonso, Guillorme, Correa, Lindor, and then Smith, Robles, McNeil, Nimmo, Haniger, Almora backing up, and Jed Lowry. Am I forgetting an infielder, or is that cover it? Yeah, that covers it. And, McNeil is technically kind of, he can play infield too. So he's another backup infielder on the squad. I kept Almora around because he can play center field really well. So if something happened to Robles, I have a guy with a 70 range. And he obviously wasn't going to have the trade value that Conforto had. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll resign Carlos Correa. I would love to. We'll see how this experiment goes with him here. He wants a pretty hefty deal, but we're the New York Mets. We can afford that. We'll see what happens. He's only 26. So pitching side of things, as we've gotten healthier, our depth is just obscene. Syndergaard and Carrasco are our setup guys now. Now, personally, I'd have Syndergaard in this rotation over Strowman and Walker. But, Buck doesn't see it that way. And did I think about trading Syndergaard since he's a pending free agent and Buck has him in the bullpen? Yeah, I did. But, I don't think that's going to happen. I could see bringing him back on this kind of deal, given that Gossman's a free agent, given that DeGrom's getting older, given that Scherzer's a free agent. We'll see what happens with Thor. But, yeah, he's in the bullpen now. He hasn't complained about it yet. And we've got depth at the minor league level, too. We've got Michael King. Robert Gisellman got optioned, even though he's having a good year. We've got bullpen depth with Gudwan. Potanzas is down here. His rehab assignment's about to run out. Probably just going to have to DFA him because nobody will take him. J.D. Davis got optioned to the minors when we brought in Correa. He was having a really bad year for us. He's gone down in his 3 games in the minors and put up a mere 511 OPS plus. But yeah, he had 383 plate appearances, an OPS plus of 77, and negative .1 WAR. I think J.D. Davis could potentially be part of this franchise moving forward. We'll see what happens with Correa, but this season it wasn't happening for him, and I was out of patience waiting for it to happen, especially when we were able to bring in Correa. So that's where we're at. Team-wise, we just swept the Braves here. We are ready at the trade deadline. I don't think I'll make any more trades. Maybe I'll look around and tinker with the bullpen, but I really doubt it at this point. I think this is a team we'll move forward with. Standings-wise, we are now 2.5 games up on the Braves, who are safely in a wild card spot by 7.5 games. So we're about almost 10 games up on like the third wild card team. So even if we go cold or the Braves run hot, we should be able to make the postseason in one way or another, whether that's as a wild card team or the division winner. You can see we've won 8 in a row. You might be interested in how Scherzer's done so far. He's had 4 starts. He's been really good. A 3.2 ERA, 3.58 FIP. Strikeouts are down a little bit, but so are his walks. Home runs are much more normalized. So yeah, we're getting pretty solid effort out of Max Scherzer so far, and hopefully that can continue. Kevin Gausman continues his potential Cy Young run here, on pace for 5.7 WAR and 8.7 R WAR. He's been excellent. Will I re-sign him? That's a longer discussion for another day, but at 30 years old and that ask, no. But we'll see if we can bring him back on some kind of deal. So yeah, we're all in. We have a bunch of pending free agents. I didn't go all galaxy brain on it and try to trade those guys away for guys under team control for longer, because this is our core. We're winning with these guys. This is our team, and we're going to do it. And if we lose like Syndergaard, Scherzer, Gausman, Correa, I don't know who else here is a free agent. If we lose all those guys, so be it. That's the price for trying to win with this squad that's currently in first place. So that's the Mets up through the trade deadline. Next episode, I'm thinking we'll probably begin at the end of the regular season. We'll recap the rest of that and then go through what hopefully is a long and successful postseason. So thanks for watching, and welcome to the Max Scherzer and Carlos Correa era for the New York Mets. See you guys in the next video.